411? Who's got the 411? We got the 411. What's the 411?
Guess what? I have another author. Her name is Coe Booth, and she was also a judge. Originally from the Bronx. So Justice Claudia Rankin, who is a finalist this year for the book and poetry, we have Coe Booth now who's going to talk with us a little bit about what does it mean to be a judge for the National Book Award.
Well, I was a judge in 2009, so not this year, but it was a life-changing experience for me because you really are reading about 285 books in about a 6-month period of time. And as a writer, it was such a great experience and education to see what is it about certain books that makes them jump out of the pile of everybody else, you know. And so we picked, we had 5 books then, and it was a wonderful experience, but very, very challenging to read all those books.
I bet.
I remember that year I went on a cruise, and one of my suitcases had clothes, and the other one had books. And everybody was doing fun things, and I was sitting on a lounge chair reading, trying to get through the stack. You know, so.
Who knew that the National Book Awards could be so exciting, huh? Changing your minds about literature, okay? Coe Booth, you're from the Bronx.
Yes.
Okay, so a Bronx girl grows up, and she's a writer. Did you even know that when you were growing up in the Bronx? And what would people have said to you?
Yeah, well, I was always the writer. I always say I started writing in 2nd grade because I used to take loose leaf paper, staple the sides together, make little booklets out of it, and then write chapter 1. And I always wanted to write novels. So I was always writing all the way through, but I come from a West Indian family that was, my mother was saying things like, you have to have something to fall back on. So I needed a real career. So I studied psychology, and I have a master's in psychology, so I did other things besides write. But in the end, I always found myself coming back to writing, and because it's my first true love. So after working about maybe 8 years or so, I decided to try to focus on writing, and I got another master's degree in writing from the New School, and I just threw myself back into it full time. So that's what I'm doing now.
Okay, so for all of you wannabe writers, take a tip from Coe Booth. Maybe you too can staple together papers when you're little, put chapter 1 and 2 on them, and then grow up to be a writer.
If I can do
from the Bronx.
If I can do it, anybody can. I mean, really, it's just stay true to what you want. Stay focused on that goal. Take it seriously. And if it's what you want to do, study it. Go to college, study it. You know, focus on it. Don't minimize it.
Yeah. Okay, so the other thing is you are now writing with Scholastic.
Yes.
And you have written 4 books.
4 books, right. I have 3 books for teenagers, Tyrell, Bronxwood, and Kendra. And I have my new book just came out a couple of months ago. It's called Kinda Like Brothers, and it's for 9 to 12-year-olds.
Okay.
So
tell me a little bit about Kinda Like Brothers, because I love that title.
I always wanted to write for middle grade, but what really kicked me to get started on that book was that there are so few books about and for Black children, especially boys. So I wanted to write something that would appeal to boys especially. It's about an 11-year-old boy named Jarrett, whose mom is a foster mother, and she brings home a little boy named Kevin, who's actually older than my kid, Jarrett, and they have to share a room, and it's a lot of friction and a lot of problems, because the foster kid is way cooler than my main character, and just cuter and more confident and taller and doesn't have asthma. Anyway, so Jared's really irritated with this new kid, so he's trying to get rid of him. But as he learns more about his family life and all the difficulty Kevin has been, having to go through, he starts. It's kind of like a brother story where they fight, they get along, they fight again. It's a lot of conflict going on there. So
I want to say just one more thing about that. Mm-hmm. I just recently learned how many African American young people are in foster care. Mm-hmm. So do you think this is something that could be used not just as a literary, tool, but through literature, there's some learning
I think it could definitely open up a discussion, which is what I want. It's not the kind of book where there's a big, heavy moral lesson, but I think it can be used to spark discussion in a classroom or maybe a Boy Scout or a boys and girls club kind of setting where you can just talk about the issues that are being raised, and hopefully the book can kind of give you that entree into that world of foster care.
Thank you so much, and it's so great to see you here, Coe Booth. And that's what's the 411 some more on what it means to be judge, and also to be a little girl in Bronx, have a really big dream, and then make it happen. Coe Booth, thank you so much.
We got the 411. Who's got the 411? We got the 411.